Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to ROP, Round of Play podcast, where we discuss the Premier League, and in particular, we're discussing match week 1. I'm your guy, Toves. And as usual, with me, we've got the skippo, Mr. Judensi, aka Long the Ball. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm good. Glad to be here again.
Fantastic. Good to have you here. We'll be discussing Manchester United very soon as well. We have the Arsenal instigator, Arsenal troll, Arsenal hater, our moderator, Mr. Sheun T, aka Vidic, aka Per Mertesacker. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing well. Well, for no get 3 points this last week.
Ooh. Okay, that's a slight jab to Chelsea. I think we should just start from there as well. Let's start from Chelsea. But before we get into the Chelsea game, Manchester City and Chelsea, what do you guys think about the Sterling situation? Him releasing a statement just before the game saying that he needs clarification. He and his team need clarification from the Chelsea team. Do you think Maresca is basically showing him the signal that he's no longer interested in Chelsea, or does Sterling need to work harder? What are your thoughts? Let's start from you, Mr. Sheun T.
I don't buy the sequence of events. So I don't buy that Sterling was just surprised to not see his name on the squad sheet that went to City. I think they already told Sterling that no space for you here, no plan for you. But obviously Sterling's management team is experienced at what they're doing. I think they're trying to insert themselves into the narrative, create some turmoil within Chelsea, and just basically put themselves in the news. Because there's no reason why we should know that Sterling was told. Why is Sterling acting like he was confused, basically? And according to Maresca, he told Sterling, "You're not the type of winger that I like. You're a good footballer, but you're not in my plans. We have 20 people in the squad. You're not one of them." So I think Sterling is trying to manipulate the fans essentially, and I think it's working because we're all talking about it. And basically, Chelsea have found themselves, I think, with a bit of a mess here because Sterling is on £300,000 or so a week, and if I'm just going to keep him in the dressing room, I don't know. Like if I'm Sterling, I'll just say no problem. Say you don't want me to play, I will just be here. You'll be paying my money. Maybe he'll be like Gareth Bale, go and learn how to play golf.
Fair enough. And Jude, do you think that he had a good enough season last season to be able to get the fans to support him?
For me, I was looking at him individually. You have to look at the team first. Did they really have a good enough season? Then you now look at his own impact. I think he had a 4/10 kind of season. I'll give him 4/10. So it's not really the coach just makes it easier for himself. There's no point carrying people you're not gonna work with, and then you kill the morale of the other guys.
Yeah.
Right.
But last season
It's
he had good games against Manchester City in
That's why I
both
give him.
legs.
That's why I give him a 4. A 4 will be okay. I can give him a 5. That way, he runs, but sometimes his finishing is not great.
Yeah.
The end product of whatever he's doing is not really great. So I think he's getting to that extent where he has to improve on himself. It's just that the older you get, you have to like.
Yeah, but it's not that old. I think it's like 28, 29, no? Sterling is.
He started balling early, right? So
Yeah.
he had the longer span of senior team football. So they die quickly, just like Michael Owen, the other guys, like they easily get injured and then die from there.
Yeah.
Or I just feel,
Yeah, he's 29 years old.
yeah,
So he still has like at
the
least
coach
2-3 years of professional career. But
who's gonna buy him and pay him that amount and play him for 2 3 years. So
Saudi people. Johnny Boy.
that's the only place. But I don't think Saudis. I don't think he'll be like somebody that will bring money for them. So except if he's willing to take a pay cut, that's when they can probably grab him.
Yeah, but I would say yes. Even though the manager is basically showing him the handwriting on the wall, I'll still think if I was in Sterling's position, like Sheun said, he's basically earning about £300,000. I also want to dig my feet in and stay there. Right? Not every player is like Lukaku that will try to dip when they can see the writing on the wall. Maybe he still wants to stay at Chelsea because
I don't think Lukaku is dipping, right? I think Lukaku is lucky to be able to have managers who want him. That's like now Conte is looking for him. He's not dipping, but Conte is looking for him. So when I saw the Lukaku news, it's kind of, if they are having this problem, they'll probably enter the season with most of these players. They'll probably not offload all of them.
Yeah, but I'm
right?
sure he can still go on loan to all this. You know, the way them Ross Barkley, them Danny Welbeck found like Brighton and those kind of teams. I'm sure he can find someone that can take him on loan,
like Sterling,
and Chelsea pays the salary.
I think Sterling will probably want to sit it out if there's no foreign like abroad club calling for him. I think he'll probably want to sit it out because there's no big team that will call for him. And he'll most likely want to sit in a big team. Imagine Sterling going to.
I think.
Where would he go now?
There's nowhere for Sterling to go to. I think Chelsea's gamble, and it's a reasonable gamble, is that Sterling's pride would not allow him to just sit there. Because I think what they might do for Sterling is make him play with like under 21s or something, right? So they can set him up. Because if he's in breach of his contract, then they are able to like terminate it without having to pay him out. So they could put him in a position where we say, okay, Mr. Sterling, don't show up, don't eat in this canteen, play under 21s against Arsenal under 21s, Sterling. And if Sterling says he's not playing, then he's in breach, basically, and then they can fire him. So I think they're hoping that like by effectively bullying him and treating him this way, pride do not allow him to just stay there, right? So that he would allow what Chelsea hopes that they can do is to get Sterling to accept a discount on his salary. They want him to leave, and they don't want to have to pay him the full money because if he leaves, they would have to pay him the remaining 3 years of the salary, 300 and something thousand pounds a week. That's a fat payout. So I think Chelsea want to make it such that. Yeah, they have the money. You know, if Todd Bowley has the money, but I think this sets a dangerous precedence for Chelsea. I think if Chelsea, I'll be a little bit more concerned because they have what Maresca said he has. He wants only 20 players out of 42 that they have. So they have about 17 players that they need to get rid of. As Jude was saying,
I think
Napoli,
it's also
they like
getting rid
Lukaku.
of Chilwell as well. He said he didn't like Chilwell.
Yeah. There are still so many players.
The challenge is the time frame, right? And like the backup. You have up until August 31st to upload these guys. That's probably like next weekend.
Yeah.
With these guys, it's 1 week. They can sit it out.
Exactly.
And then you are stuck with them from now to January. And your performance, the people you are trying to rely on, those 20 players you are trying to rely on, maybe 80 or 70% of them are still good and going to deliver.
Yeah.
What about injuries? When injuries set in, you're in multiple competitions. So that Chilwell situation, I think he should rethink the Chilwell situation.
Yeah, I think you're right.
You might want to bully them now, that's fine, but have a backup plan to re-rotate them back into the squad because he'll still probably need Sterling in some games.
Yeah.
Because you can't rely on Modric.
Yes, it's a double-edged sword. But like, let's just segue away from Sterling right now and talk about the game itself between Manchester City and Chelsea. For me personally, I think Chelsea played relatively well. And it took them a while to get their feet into the game. I was a bit disappointed of that midfield trio that we've been looking forward to last season. Lavia, Caicedo, Enzo Fernandez. I expected way too much from them, but I think they grew into the game. They had some solid gameplay, but it might take them a season or two to get used to that tactics. City is City. We already know we don't have to sing their praises too much, but I enjoyed the battle between Cucurella and Haaland because obviously in the summer he was singing, trying to insult Haaland, saying, Haaland saw Cucurella is shaking, and then Haaland's squad was looking at him on the floor. That was very, very epic to me. It was like a box office game in the end between Haaland and Cucurella.
But I thought Cucurella played well though.
No, he played well, but obviously Haaland still the battle between him and Haaland, Haaland won every single time. But in terms of gameplay, Chelsea played relatively well. That's my.
I think Chelsea with their $300 million midfield, I think they look like they had a solid foundation. I think that combination of Caicedo and Lavia, if they can find a way to make that midfield work with Caicedo, Lavia, and Enzo Fernandez, I think they will cause problems because that Lavia guy, energy, 100%. He covers a lot of ground, hardworking, good on the ball also. I think the same goes for Caicedo. And then, but like Enzo, they are playing Enzo as a number 10 behind the striker, which I mean to me doesn't make sense. Doesn't use the best of Enzo's abilities, which is like he's good on the ball.
He distributes the ball well as well. I guess
he distributes the ball right
compared to him.
But the way number 10s, like the kind of number 10 that Enzo would only work if he's in a team like Manchester United or Madrid, where we're playing on the counter, essentially. And Enzo's job is just to pick up the ball quickly. And, but I think the way I see Enzo, he likes to have time on the ball. He likes to have the ball. He likes to dictate play, distribute here and there. So I don't think number 10 works for him. But I think because of the money that they paid for him, Maresca has to find a way to fit that midfield. So it will be interesting to see how they make it work, especially with all these new players that they have, Pedro Neto, and then how they brought João Felix. And they also have, what's this guy's name? Nkunku. And then Jackson up front.
Astrid Jackson. Yeah.
So like, how do we do it? Uncle Palmer also. So how they will do it, I'm yet to see. I think their centre backs, especially, look to me very vulnerable. Levi Colwill and I forget the other guy's name. That's how it's inconsequential.
I've forgotten his name. Fofana played, but yeah.
Fofana and Levi Colwill. I think that's their weakness. But yeah, Chelsea showed some interesting signs. I think Man City don't look as good as maybe it's the first game of the season. Maybe that's why. Yeah. But I think there's some weaknesses in this Man City team. Like, because Doku, for example, and what's the other guy's name? Savinho. The new in-heel guy. The two of them are not they're not the smartest, basically. Like, you understand, they run into roadblocks, stuff like that. So I think, to be fair, we saw some weakness from City, and it's encouraging. So encouraging signs. I don't know why everybody's allowing City to bring Gundogan back. Because that guy is a baller. Gundogan, one of the most underrated players in the league, but he's a baller and he's coming back to City.
City fans don't underrate him because he captured them to a treble. So I think.
Why didn't Man U go for Gundogan? I don't know why. I mean, he definitely won't come. I don't think he will come to.
Exactly.
He won't come now.
Back, I'm sure he wants to go back to City and retire.
But I would love to have him at United. If he was willing to come, I would in a heartbeat immediately will sign him. I mean, so we can move Kobe Mino to the bench, and as an 18-year-old, he shouldn't be playing so many games.
Wow, why would he want to put a top class player on the bench? Come on, Marshall.
When another world class player comes, Gundogan. That's what I'm saying. If Gundogan comes, he's starting immediately. So
fair enough. Right, and Joe, just a quick one. What's your take on the Chelsea Manchester City game?
I feel it's too early to judge City, and it's an away game.
Yeah,
that's another thing. So if City is not good away, so they almost like go there to either salvage the point or just find like a close win and just go home. So, but Chelsea played well. They were okay for more than my expectations. Mm-hmm. But I would still say it's an early game. So let's see what the season will roll out. But they were promising.
Yeah.
So the bet, this guy's best, right? What's his name? Todd Bowley. Is that Maresca is one of these new generation managers who was able to take, like Arteta, who was able to take Leicester, tiki-taka, teach them style of football. And then on top of that, in Todd Bowley's mind, he has gone and assembled all, like Football Manager, all the hot prospects basically in the world. Todd Bowley has gone to go and assemble them in one squad. So they are saying, okay, Jackson is supposed to be a hot prospect now, right? So that's what Jackson is. That's what João Felix is. That's what Modric that they signed. Jackson, Modric, João Felix, Nkunku, Lavia, Caicedo, Colwill. That's what all these guys are. These were all the 100 million, 80 million pounds best young players in the world. So in their mind, if they can combine best young players in the world plus up and coming young manager who knows the modern football this thing, in theory, it should equal success.
Yeah.
Right? But we'll see whether it turns out to be like that in practice. I don't believe it.
Why they didn't go for Osimhen instead of João Felix.
Well, we'll see. Transfer window is still.
Let's stay at the window.
Exactly. Transfer window still has a couple of days. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Yeah, it's going, but it might not be Chelsea.
It might just be another team.
Yeah.
No. So if your question is whether we should be scared of Chelsea and Maresca, for me, no. I think just Chelsea's going to be Chelsea, right? They're going to huff and they'll puff, and they have some good players, so they'll win. But I think there's just no way around the drama. Like, they wouldn't be able to escape just the drama of what Todd Bowley is doing. The consequences of assembling a 40-man squad is going to come back and bite them in the ass. You're talking about a team where all these 11 players, any 11 that you field, it's probably their first time playing together. Each position basically. So I think aside from maybe Cucurella and one or two other guys who maybe have been there for a long time, nobody else in the starting 11 really has a foundation at Chelsea. And there's a new manager again, so I think there will be some learning pains, likely to be some disharmony in the squad unless they're able to ship out Sterling. So I think all of that is gonna affect Chelsea negatively this season. So no, I wouldn't be scared of Chelsea.
Right, so let's speaking about the team that we should not really be scared about, Manchester United versus Fulham. I'll give the Manchester United fans the floor to speak about their team, how they perform.
Wow.
Let's start with, I know Shawunti is going to give us the whole kind of Man U is back, but let's talk to someone that's more level-headed, United fan. Jude, what do you think about the game between Manchester United and Fulham?
They actually impressive to me. I think we had a good game. I think the most important problem is more of I understand him playing Mount, which is more like helping out in that midfield and attack, and it helped us choke that midfield. Casemiro was good that day up until like maybe the last 10 minutes or somewhere around that range, but he was actually good. So for me, it was a good game. Just it was scary at some point when we were pressing for the second goal and they had chances to kill us on the counter. And we had good defense. We had a good defending. That's for one. That's one thing that's giving me that confidence. The defense is now solid. All we need is we need more of a scoring up, like scorers. We need people to score. I don't know why they don't take like the outside shots. We have players who can do that. I think Rashford did better than the Community Shield. He did better than the Community Shield. I just think that he should wake up and realize that this is EPL. He should look at people like Saka. I hate to say, but
it's the first game in the season, Jude. First game. You yourself say we should not judge City.
It starts from the first game. Everything counts for the first game. Everything counts for the first game. You can't just be waiting. Last 2 seasons, he was able to cut from the left and shoot. Everybody knows that. It's the same thing with Saka. Everybody knows that. But Saka has perfected the act in a way that he can still do it or find another means to like square play.
Obviously, Saka is coming off. Saka is coming off of at least 2 consecutive seasons of playing very well. He's coming off of a good summer. Saka is in 3 consecutive seasons. Okay, Saka is in better form. Saka is in better form than Rashford generally. So whatever he does is going to come off better. Like his passes will connect more. His shots will be more on target.
300,000 a week. You have a problem with Sterling, and you don't have a problem with Rashford.
No. So I look at them differently. I think Sterling is further along his career than Rashford and is deserving of less grace in terms of opportunities than Rashford. I also think that Sterling is unlucky because a different manager would take a different approach with Sterling. So he's just unlucky in that regard. And it's too bad for him. With Rashford, I personally don't mind if Ten Hag benches Rashford for Garnacho and Garnacho starts instead. I don't have a problem either way, right? But I'm saying, like, for me, from the game against Fulham, what I took away was chance creation. We created a lot more chances than we have in the past, and that is unequivocally a good thing. I'm not worried about. So even if you had lost the game, I think the chance creation is going to lead to success in the future, because if you keep creating chances, eventually you score. It means that you're doing something right, and eventually things will start clicking and you score. So chance creation, and the second thing that you mentioned, defensively, will look much better. So in possession, out of possession, in shape, out of shape, defending looks much better. We've signed some players that are going to help us. So that game against Fulham, if not for the scoreline, right, it would have been a 10/10 start, because we should have been 3-0. It should have been 3 or 4. Bruno Fernandes clear cut one-on-one chances that he missed. I think Rashford also missed a few chances as well. I
No,
think
if we
Fulham
had
had less
scored
clear
those,
cut chances than us
no,
now.
they had at the end. If we had scored those goals, we'll probably not be looking
Yeah, I
for a
mean,
second goal,
like
and they won't have that chance. They won't have that
the,
chance if
that
we
was a game
scored
that
those.
we looked in control of to me, and I expect to see the same thing continue against Brighton. Like I expect us to beat Brighton. I expect us to be in control for most of the game against Brighton, even though there'll be the occasional like shake here because we're
I
still
think the way
getting
they
learning the
scored,
ropes.
like they played like they played better. They played more of like people that knew what they were coming to do. Unlike
Yeah,
usual Man U that want to wait for them to be scored and then they will wake up and realize, oh, we need to score. So it was a good game. The only problem I have, the only challenge I have is playing Mount now is helping us choke that midfield. How is it going to be when we have a striker? When Hodgland is back or when we decide to start Zirkzee, right?
yeah. No, I mean
That's
that's an interesting question that you raised because many United fans have pointed out that Mason Mount is the best presser that we have in the team. So in terms of pressing, chasing down the opponent's defenders when they have the ball and all of that, nobody does it better than Mason Mount. He has a lot of energy and is able to run the opponent down. But Ten Hag now has to decide if we're going to keep playing Mason Mount or if you want to switch to Zirkzee. Because everybody knows that Bruno's pressing, he runs like a bit of a headless chicken sometimes. His pressing is not really organized. Rashford is kind of lazy, so if Rashford tries to press and you just run past Rashford, you've beaten him. That's the end. So I think Ten Hag has two very important decisions to make. I think against Brighton, does he keep Maguire because Maguire played well? Does he keep Maguire instead of Delete? And secondly, does he start Zirkzee instead of Mason Mount?
I think
Which one will you go with?
Maguire is not a problem to me. I rather the one that is easier for me would be I think he should start Mount to balance the game because Brighton is not like they are skillful player in terms of skillful. I mean, like they can cut one player and just pass. So we need them, and they play more of that midfield kind of game, like choke the midfield and collect the ball and play confusing game. So I think Mount to be better off. We can still start the same lineup that we started. The lead starting in that game is a tough one because I still consider Brighton as one of the top six, even though they were not there. I still would see them as that top 16 at the moment. So I think maybe the game after the lead can start, or maybe depending on how the game goes, we can bring in the lead, right, and see if he can balance. I just think Rashford again is still my point. Yeah, he has to improve. I'm still on him till he improves this season. That's all.
Is there any United fan that has changed his mind on their position for United based on Fulham? I'm not changing my mind.
No,
I'm the same.
because
I'm the same bullish person that I was before. Like I'm still saying keeping the same energy that I kept after the Community Shield because I said I saw good signs there, and those signs give me confidence. So against Brighton, score prediction. I won't be surprised if we go if 2-0 United.
either we go with the same 1-0, or I'm thinking a 2-1 because I don't really trust the Brighton. They score, so I'm thinking a 2-1. It's not going to be as easy.
No, that's not going to be as easy now. Fulham wasn't easy. This game is not going to be easy, but we're going to win because we are the better team.
We should
And like
also
I
look
said,
at we should also look at the point that Brighton has a new coach, right? So game is not like Zebi anymore. Zebi had the key to Man U's defense, shaky defense last
yeah,
season. So this is a
yeah,
new coach. The style
yeah.
and play might
But we
change.
beat them
So
now.
no, I don't think did we win them?
Yeah, we did. We won one. They won one. Yeah.
Okay.
How do you guys feel about the Arteta versus Emery question
Who is the
and
better
predictions
manager?
or analysis of the game against Aston Villa? Aston Villa next this coming weekend.
In as much as I want to give it to Arsenal, I think it's going to be a draw. I'm looking at a 1-1. My heart wants to give it to Arsenal. My heart wants to give it to Arsenal, but my head is telling me 1-1. Because the reason is normally if you guys have won 5 against Wolves or 4 against Wolves, right? It would have been where your confidence would have, like, you'll be on that high horse and like we're unbeatable and we're down for this season. So for me, I feel like being the first game of the season, right? Holding that 2-0 and struggling to get that second goal, it will build you guys, like build that mentality that you need down the road. So maybe the Villa game, my heart is telling me Arsenal is going to win, but my head is telling me I think it's going to be a draw.
Yeah, no, this would be a difficult game to predict, honestly. And I mean, my head is fighting against my heart. I'm trying to think of all the various like this thing. I'll say a couple of things. One, I think Arsenal is and Arteta extremely motivated, like highly this season because they have a point to prove, obviously. So very motivated. I think Arsenal the last few seasons have started well. If I'm gonna catch Arsenal, it's not now that you should catch them. It's like later in the season when their feet have started to shake. So I think that could work in their because they lack mentality. Yeah. So but at the same time, I mean everybody has to give Unai Emery credit for how good of a manager is. So I think this one can really go either way. The safest prediction is a draw, right? But I think it could go either way. Like Arsenal could win and Aston Villa could win. In fact, I think so it could go either way, and maybe that cancels it out, and we end up with a draw. Right? But I think if either team score, I think it would be hard for the other teams to score. So you could end up with a draw most likely. But yeah, it's very hard to predict. I think this one could go either way. Although I would love it
I actually think
for Arsenal to lose.
if Arsenal scores, I think Villa might press them in the last minute and score back.
That's what I'm saying. So
if Villa scores, it might be difficult for Arsenal to come in.
No, if Arsenal could still score, right? As in, that's what I'm saying. If either team score, it would be hard for the other team to come back. But the other team could still score, so it could go either way. Either way works out for us because we are collecting 3 points and we'll be on 6. Whereas Arsenal and Aston Villa, somebody is dropping points.
No, we need them to lose the points now. We need them to lose the points.
No, so it's not too early. It's not too early. The lesson that obviously the real managers know that it's not too early.
No, it's
3 points matters.
You're away from home. Unai want to prove that it's not a lock game that he won you guys last season towards the end. So and that place is a fortress too.
It's a tough place to go. I feel bad for Kieran McKenna. Man City's at home.
It'll be like a 4-0.
No, they won't win for. They won't win for.
Man City's at home.
No, they won't win for, Jude. The manager of Ipswich is Kieran McKenna. I feel bad for that guy because he was one of Ole's assistants. He was linked to the Man U job also. This guy is a highly rated manager. He was linked to United in the summer. If they sacked Ten Hag, he did very well with Ipswich. No, all I'm saying is that like I think I feel bad for him that his first 2 games in the Premier League back to back Liverpool and Man City.
That's better,
terrible luck.
That's better for him because
for a newly I know you guys are saying it's better, but I think the points, every single point in this league matters.
I don't see them unless they're relegating. That's my prediction from the outset.
I agree with you about Ipswich. But why I think Man City will win, but I think Ipswich is good enough to make it a respectable scoreline. That's what I think. So like 2-0 or 3-1.
2-1 Wolves. 2-1 Wolves.
Chelsea will win 2-1.
It'll be like a 2-2 or 3-2 kind of game. If I'm leaning towards Liverpool, my heart wants to lean towards Liverpool. My head is telling me it's going to be a game where Brentford will also score. So I'll just go with a 3-2 or a 3-1 Liverpool.
I think it's going to be a draw, 1-1 or 2-2. I think Arne Slot is this is going to be his first lesson in how difficult the Premier League is.
Tottenham Everton.
Tottenham Everton. Yeah, no, Everton can get a win for love or money. I think Everton, Sean Dyche, that is Greg. That is the Greg. This thing, might not. Then again, Tottenham, I think this Ange ball high line I don't rate it as highly as other people do. And I think we're also going to see like some casting. And if Everton were watching what Leicester did, if they can find a way to score, honestly, like that game, yeah. But I think Tottenham will win. Tottenham will win like 3-0 or so.